If you're anything like me, you were pretty depressed when JOANN's announced that they were going out of business, then maybe a little bit hopeful when Michaels announced that they were acquiring JOANN's. Now, with that acquisition, we were promised the return of some of our favorite Big Twist yarns, and as I was in Michaels the other day, I noticed that they have delivered on said promise, so I picked up these two new yarns. We have the Posh Purl, which is meant to be Big Twist Posh Yarn, and then we also have the Cozy Cub, which is meant to be JOANN's Big Twist Baby Bear. So in today's video, we're gonna put these two yarns to the test. I even have some of Big Twist Posh left over, so we'll do a side-by-side comparison, and then I will also make a few projects with these bad boys. So if that sounds like fun, then let's get straight into the review. So before we start talking about the specs of these yarns that I've purchased, I want to talk about Michaels' landing page. They have a JOANN's times Michaels landing page. It says, "Welcome to Michaels, JOANN fans. It's hard to lose a store you love. We're here to help." By the way, I've heard that they're really going to expand their fabric section for any sewers that I have in my audience, but that's not what we're talking about today. I have no sewing skills whatsoever. The reason I'm pointing out this landing page is because they have a little card on this page that says, "Big Twist fans, we've got you. Shop Posh Purl and Cozy Cub for the same yarn, different label." So they are straight up telling us that these yarns should be exactly the same. I do have my big tub of Big Twist Posh yarn, so we'll definitely do a side-by-side comparison of what a new skein looks like versus the Michaels skein. That stuff is gonna be like gold at this point. We'll start by talking about Posh Purl, which is the dupe or exact replica of the Big Twist Posh, and here's how the two look in their skeins. I mean, side by side, they definitely look pretty similar. I'm just looking at the yarn itself, and it looks to be the same weight. This skein does look a little bit bigger than this one, but that could just be because they've wound it tighter in this one. We know that the amount per skein in grams is exactly the same. I don't think there's much difference there. Big Twist Posh cost $9.99 per 200 grams. All of the prices across all four of the skeins are exactly the same. They're all $9.99 per 200 grams, and Michaels has kept that consistent with what JOANN's prices were. Now, I mean, the coupons are pretty good at Michaels as well. I was gonna say JOANN's always had amazing deals, but I think that the coupons at Michaels actually tend to be a little bit better, especially if you order online and pick up in store. You can get almost 35–40% off pretty regularly. But anywho, this is a size 5 weight yarn. Same with this one, same specs, everything. The biggest difference that you're gonna see is in the color options that are available. With Big Twist Posh, there were over 50 different colors available to choose from. Now, of course, they weren't always there. Every store visit that I went to, that would be a little bit absurd and would take up a lot of space. You would have to order it online, but anytime I would go into a JOANN's, I felt like the options for Posh were pretty decent. Now for Posh Purl, we get 9 different colors, and I'm gonna give Michaels a little bit of time to build up the options for us, but if we look at historically, I don't feel like their colorways have been quite as expansive as we've seen in the past with Big Twist. So I have my fingers crossed, but I'm also maybe not gonna be holding my breath. With the 9 different colors, we have 9 pretty basic pastel colors, and then we do get a black and a white, which is nice. I feel like any line should have a black and a white. Looking at you, Cozy Cub, but we'll talk about that next. I do just want to compare these two yarns to each other as well, because this is actually Posh Big Twist, and then this is the new yarn, and I tried to buy the blue because I remembered that I had this baby blue at home, and I thought they might be the same, but you can see they are pretty similar. However, this original color is just a bit more vibrant and bright, and this one is a little more washed out. And when I was looking at the other colors on the website, of course it's a little bit hard to tell online, but I noticed that the pastels are a little bit more washed out in the Michaels collection. Now, I am hopeful that they will bring back some of these more vibrant, bright, and neon colors. I have not used this color yet, but it is just gorgeous. I mean, you can even see on camera how much it's picking up in the brightness of this color, but hey, I guess beggars can't be choosers for now. We're just gonna have to appreciate the 9 colors that we do have. Now talking about the Cozy Cub yarn. So this is meant to be the same as Big Twist Baby Bear yarn. This is a weight 6 yarn, whereas I think I mentioned this is a weight 5 yarn, so it'll be a little bit thicker, but pretty similar in consistency. I actually don't think I've ever tried Big Twist Baby Bear, so this is gonna be a new to me experience, although I imagine it's gonna be pretty similar as Posh, just a little bit thicker. But this yarn comes in 15 different colors. Now, when compared to the Baby Bear yarn, that one did come in over 26 colors, so again, JOANN's has a bit of a leg up. Previously they did. This collection comes in 15 colors, with most of them being a mixture of earth tones and pastels, and it doesn't come with a black. It does come with a white and a cream, but there is no black yarn. So Michaels, we're gonna have to get on that real quick, because a chenille yarn without black for amigurumi makers might be a little bit of an issue unless people are willing to substitute different yarns in. So I'm thinking for the patterns that I want to work up for these yarns, I'm going to do 2 of the exact same patterns for both of these yarns, so that way we can see how they work up side by side. So for the Posh yarn, what I'm going to do is the No Sew Whale Crochet pattern by Stitch by Faye. I love this pattern. I always make these for my markets, and I just have a fun time making them, and they go by really fast. So if I'm making 2 of them, I want it to be kind of small. I am going to supplement this pattern with some of my white Posh yarn that I have left over in my stash. And then I'm thinking for the Cozy Cub yarn, I'm going to make the No Sew Octopus from Crochet by Jenna's book. I've actually got it right here. And let me see if I can find it. Where? There it is. So I'm gonna make the jellyfish out of this book. I think that this green will just make for a really cute little plushie. So those are the 2 projects we're gonna work on. Let's start off with the mini whale though. The center pole has given me one heck of a time, let me tell you. Look at this. I cannot get it out. I found the end, but I cannot get this to come out. Oh my gosh. Oh, love that yarn barf. Well, I'm not gonna hold that against Posh Purl, because I had the same exact problem with this skein, and that was actually why I ended up caking it. It's not really my preference to cake up yarn when it comes in a skein that has an easy center pull, but I will if I must. What size hook did I used to use? Let's see what other people have done. Let's go with a 5. Where is my size 5 hook? Now that I've unraveled all of this, I'm actually thinking that I want to start with the Posh yarn, so that way I kind of have a baseline or a control group to compare it to, even though I'm very familiar with this yarn. It has been a little while, so let's start working on the whale with the Posh yarn first, actually. And I am having a time with the yarn. All right, by the way, before we get started, I did just want to do this like side-by-side comparison just so you guys can see the strands next to each other. This one is the new one from Michaels, and this one is the original. And it's not super easy to tell on camera, but this one does look just a little bit more rough. Like, I don't know how to quite describe it, but this one feels a little bit fluffier and soft, so I'm interested to see how it feels as we're actually working it up. From a weight perspective, they do look pretty similar, but I'm definitely noticing a little bit of a textural difference just to the naked eye. So we are going to test it out and see. By the way, I'm going to use a size 5mm crochet hook. It might be a little bit big, but I'm going to test it out and see. Usually for my Premier Parfait Chunky, I would go with a size 5, but I'm going to try it. Actually, no, I'm going to go 4.5. I just remembered, I made my sloth on the shelf with this yarn, and I loved the way the 4.5 came out, and I was not a big fan of the 5, so we're gonna go 4.5. I'm glad I just thought of that. I've decided to bring you guys overhead as well, so you can see how this is crocheting up, but initial impressions, it's just like I remember. It's really fun to work with. It's got like a bounce to it that makes it just, like I said, really pleasant and fun. I just like how it really glides on my hook. done with the first little whale, and it turned out really cute. Just like I said earlier, the yarn is just as fun to work with as I remember. It's been a little while since I've made a little plushie, so this was really fun to work up. And I'll be honest, I thought this was a different pattern. I was trying to make the itty bitty ones that I usually market prep, but I thought that this was that one, and it turned out a lot bigger than I meant for it to be, but that's okay. We're gonna trek on and continue on, and now we're gonna work the same one up in this Posh yarn. So I'm actually gonna bring you guys overhead so you can see as it's working up what it looks like. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, just making this magic ring, I actually can already feel that it is just a little bit rougher than the original. Wow. And it's really early to say that, but I am feeling that. Guys, I am not pleased right now. This is not what I had hoped for. Even the frogging, look at this. Look at this. With Posh, the frogging is so much easier. It's like not a problem at all. This is, I don't believe it. I do not believe that this is the same yarn. I'm sorry, I just don't. Wow. I'm about this far in my project, and I'm just gonna give you guys my somewhat initial thoughts. I am pretty disappointed in this yarn. Now, we'll see how it all looks worked up together, but had I not just worked with the actual Posh yarn before I picked this one up, maybe I wouldn't have noticed the difference. I think I would have, though. It's just really rough. It's gripping onto my hook. It's not creating that same soft fabric that the Posh yarn creates, and it's not as fun to crochet with. It's really grippy, and it's just a little bit more work to get my hook in and out. I don't know what they changed. I think it's only made worse by the fact that they said it's the exact same yarn. Now, could it have something to do with the dye because the colors are slightly different? Potentially, but they're pretty much the same light blue color. This would be the swap out for the other blue in the old version. So far, I'm pretty disappointed. I do not see my opinion changing on this as I finish this project out, but I will definitely come back to show you guys the finished product side by side. But that was a little bit of a curveball that honestly I did not expect. After seeing people say, same mill, after Michaels saying it's the same, I thought this video would be kind of boring, and it would be like, well, yeah, it's the same yarn, but oh my goodness, it does not feel the same. So let me finish up this whale, and then I'll come back and show you guys the two side by side. I'm done with the second whale, and here is how it turned out, and it did not work up the same as the other one. I'm not sure how obvious it is on camera, but this one is just a lot more dull in color, which we kind of knew looking at the skein. This one's a bit more vibrant, but it's really coming down to the touch and the feel of the yarn for me. This is really rough, and I hope it's picking up on camera in the way that it is in real life, but also just from the way it feels, this is so much softer, and I could especially notice the difference when I worked in the white because that is Posh, and so I did the color change on this one, and it was even more glaringly obvious. So like I said, it's pretty disappointing. I feel like if you're going to tell people that the yarn is going to be back and make this big show of it and say that it's going to be exactly the same, then it really should be exactly the same, if not a little bit better, but definitely not worse. The froggability of this yarn was also nowhere near the same as the original formula. So is that even right? Does yarn have a formula? Or is that just food? Or makeup? Whatever. It's not the same as the original yarn. You know what I'm saying. So I am really disappointed. I would probably rate this like 2 out of 5 stars, honestly. Is it kind of similar? Yes, but I would not say it's exactly the same as our beloved Posh. So anyway, so let's move on to Cozy Cub now. I did not use Baby Bear, so I'm not going to be able to tell you guys or do like the side-by-side comparison or tell you guys how this measures up. I'm just going to be reviewing this based on how much do I like it. So anyone who has used Baby Bear in the past, I know that was a really popular yarn. Feel free to let me know in the comment section if this does work up in a way that is similar, but let's go ahead and get working on the jellyfish now. I'm gonna be going in with a 5mm crochet hook this time. Last was the 4.5, and I will bring you guys overhead, but first let's try to get this yarn out and see what the yarn barf looks like here. Oh, let's see, I found the end. That was pretty easy. That doesn't always happen to me. Now let's see how tangled it is as oh, looks like I got it out easily. Okay, maybe this is a good omen. Let's see if this one is if I'm more pleasantly surprised by this one than the last one. Initial thoughts? I mean, again, nothing to compare it to, but I like how it feels. It feels pretty soft. Let's see. It doesn't have the same rough feel as the last one did. So let's see if this one is a little bit more pleasant to work up with. Well, immediately, I don't feel like I'm having the same visceral reaction that I did to the last yarn. I could already tell when I worked up the magic ring that I was not gonna like that one, and I'm not feeling that yet, so let's take that as a positive sign and just keep going. I just want to show you guys how much more smoothly this yarn is going. It's gliding like butter. I'm not having any problems. I like the way that this is turning out. It's pretty soft to the touch. There's no drag on my crochet hook like the last round. And let's just do a little frogability test as well. Yarn is still looking pretty good after frogging, no fraying like we saw with the last round. So far this yarn is feeling like a much better win than the last one. I'll check back in with you guys probably when this is finished up so we can see what the finished product looks like. I am all done with the little jellyfish, and let's just take a moment to appreciate the plushie in all of its glory and the pattern. I love this pattern by Jenna along with so many others in her book, but this one especially. I also love the size of it. It's miniature. Now the tentacles are kind of what take the longest. Now moving on to the yarn itself, I really loved working with Cozy Cub. I wish that I would have worked with Big Twist Baby Bear in the past so I could tell you guys how it measures up, but what I can tell you is that compared to the other size 6 chenille yarns at Michaels like Chenille Home Slim or Sweet Snuggles Light, I prefer this one way more. It was so much nicer to work with. It's really soft. I think it is a definite upgrade. It's very soft but still sturdy. Like I showed you guys when I frogged it, it still maintains its strength, but it turns out really soft and just cuddly at the end. So I have no complaints about this yarn. I would rate it 5 out of 5 stars, and I will definitely be buying this again in the future. I think that they did a nice job with this yarn. Unlike the other one, we know this one, I don't know, I'm gonna have to find a use for that yarn, but it's not my favorite by any means. So we had one hit and one miss. I would love to know if you guys have purchased this yarn yet from your local Michaels. Is it in store yet? Are you gonna try it? And if you have bought it, what do you think? What have you made with it so far? But I'm gonna wrap the video up here. I really hope that you enjoyed this little yarn review and crochet along. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, and I will be back in the future with more crochet related content very soon. Thanks, bye!